Hello and welcome to this month's Coffee and Hymns. We didn't have one last month because it was Hymn Society Annual Conference month, so we always take July off. Glad to be back for August. Can you believe it that it's already August? Um, School's starting soon, and I'm sure if you're teaching or taking courses in college, you're getting ready for your fall courses. Things like my son's soccer team is getting back into gear, and everything's just starting to happen again. Um, People are coming back from vacation, so the energy at church is starting to pick up again. Um, just a lot of things happening. So take a break with me. I have my Spider-Man mug, one of my favorite church coffee mugs here. And so we're going to talk about funeral hymns, or hymns at funerals might be a better way of putting it. I was blessed to have uh, three grandparents in my life for the majority of my life, and I just lost my last one last month during the Hymn Society's conference. Actually, I had to leave the conference to go be with my family. And she was 93 years old and lived a wonderful life, and was always a person of deep faith. And I was telling some of my family members, Nana was. We could always be sure that someone was praying for us because Nana was always praying for the family, always asking how she could pray for us, and we just knew she always was. So someone was going to have to pick up that mantle now that she's gone on to glory. But one of the gifts that she gave us was that she was very intentional with her funeral planning, and she had very specific notes about what she wanted. And being a musician, not a professional musician, but always someone who was in the choir and singing solos and just offering her musical gifts and talents at the churches she attended over her life. She was very specific about the hymns that she wanted as well, and that got me thinking. That I don't think I'd done a coffee and hymns on this topic, and even though I knew my Nana quite well, I felt like I even got to know her better by singing the songs that she chose for her funeral, and and I learned about her faith and what she thought about God, about who God is and what God has done. Um, and that just really had me reflecting on what we do as music ministers, pastors, people who love congregational song and singing and work in worship. Um, you know, when we help people choose songs for funerals for their loved ones, if they didn't have specific song choices, or it's that balance of how do we choose things that are worshipful, that honor the deceased, right, and kind of speak to their life and faith, but also, bring comfort or inspiration or just some sense of connection to the holy for the people that remain behind and are grieving. How do we choose songs that do all those things? And more often than not, we land on some of the great hymns of the faith. Great is thy faithfulness, which is one of the ones that my Nana chose. She specifically chose stanzas 1 and 3. She was never one to make a fuss, and so chose specific stanzas and didn't want us to go on and on with really anything in this service. But great is thy faithfulness, something that pops up in so many funerals. It is well with my soul. On eagle's wings. Some of you may have feelings about that one in one way or another, but definitely something. In fact, I scheduled on eagle's wings. It fit the scripture reading earlier this year at some point for one of our services, and I thought, oh, we'll do eagle's wings. and someone said, "Why are we doing a funeral song?" I was like, "Whoa, it's not a funeral song. I mean, it's appropriate for funerals, and people do request it at funerals a good bit. But when you read the text, and God will raise you up on eagle's wings, and um, I mean, it makes sense that we use it for funerals, but it's talking about the life of faith and also the things that we do while we're living and how God works while we're living. So it really struck me that someone identified that immediately as a quote funeral hymn. So the other song that my Nana chose was one I did not know. And I kind of assumed it was like an old Baptist hymn. She was a lifelong Baptist. And indeed, it is an old Baptist song. Like, it's in all the Baptist hymnals and things like that. But then I saw on hymnary.org that the hymn, I Know Whom I Have Believed, is also in the New Mennonite hymnal that just came out a few years ago. So definitely a song that's still being sung widely and is well loved, and I loved singing it. She specifically chose stanzas 1 and 3 again, or sorry, no, 1 and 5 is what she chose. But let's listen to that one together and sing along if you know it. It was something that I'm grateful to my Nana for sharing a new song with me, even after she had passed away. So here's I Know Whom I Have Believed. It's a great refrain, super singable. Um, yeah, and just a fun to sing. Great text. So yeah, that's another one that she chose. Let's see. What else do we have? Oh yeah, someone emailed me after they found out that this was going to be the topic. An Episcopal priest by the name of Christopher Weber, who has many collections of hymns and song texts. and recently came out with a collection and had a song specifically that he thought um, would fit really well. It's set to the tune of Finlandia, um, and I'll open it up here so you can see it and just sing maybe a stanza or two through. Here it is. It's called "Death Be Not Proud," um, and you know, thanks to Christopher Weber for writing this text, and of course Finlandia is always just one of my favorite tunes. I'll sing anything to Finlandia. Um, but all that to say is that there continue to be songs that are written kind of more specifically about death or grief, um, designed to help us process through these times of grief and sorrow. Um, they're not always the ones that are chosen for funerals, and I'm not exactly sure the place for them. Certainly, you know, we do need to be more conscious of singing things like this that may help people in a regular Sunday morning service, acknowledging that, you know, there are people in the pews pretty consistently that are grieving in one way or another, and how can we help, you know, sing them through that time. Um, so this is I'll just sing. I really liked stanza 3, in particular. Um, Death, be not proud, our work is not in vain. God takes it all and makes us whole again. Transforms, renews, restores to life from death, and fills us with the Spirit's holy breath. Thanks be to God, whose love has set us free in Jesus Christ, and won the victory. I really like stanza 3, so definitely recommend that. That's in his latest collection. Um, so yeah, I mean, songs continue to be written specifically for these times. But I also started thinking about, why do we sing it in funerals anyways? Like, why not just say some things and be done with it? There does seem to be this kind of need to sing or make music. Um, and so I was just thinking through that. It's definitely because singing is a very human thing. Putting words to tune is a very human thing, and it just is something that we're meant to do, something that we're made to do. And so when we're encountering death, it's kind of this affirmation that this music making, this singing together is something we're supposed to be doing, and so we should do it as often as possible. Um, and singing is comforting. It's something that heals and soothes us. Um, I think about David and the story of David, calming the mind of Saul, the entire field of music therapy and art and health. And I mean, it's well documented now, and even, now we're beginning to understand some of the science behind how music actually changes our brains in ways that help us to process things and brings us healing. And then, singing is a bonding activity. It's once again, we're starting to understand the basics of why we feel more connected to people when we sing together. And when we're encountering death, and when we're doing something like, celebrating the life of someone, or having a funeral, um, those family ties become, kind of come into hyperfocus. So if you have good family relationships, it's a time where the singing kind of reinforces kind of as a giving thanks for those relationships. But if there are broken relationships in the family, or family and friends of the deceased, or just tensions, or things that come along with being family, um, the singing is something that can break through that and really begin to mend those broken relationships. So I think because of all those reasons, it just is a natural thing for us to just automatically assume like we should probably sing. Um, yeah. So, anyways, those are my reflections on funeral hymns. I thought we would end with another just kind of great hymn of the faith that is requested so often at funerals. But once again, it's not a funeral hymn. It's just a great hymn of the faith. It's "Abide with Me," and I found this version with the King Singers, and it's hard to go wrong with the King Singers. So we'll end with that. I haven't drank much coffee during this broadcast, um, but I hope you have, and I hope you have a great month. And I will see you in September. So after this, the King Singers Abide with Me will end this broadcast. Thanks for joining me for this month's Coffee and Hymns.